Today we're going to be looking at Atari. This was the console that started it all. I loved the Atari system. So let's take a look at some of the 8-bit wonders from back in the day that actually seeded my love for video games. You ready? Let's go. First up, Mario Brothers on the Atari. Wait a minute. Mario Brothers on an Atari system? That's right. Nintendo released Mario Brothers on Atari. First it was available on the 800 system, which was basically garbage, and then it was released on the 7800 system later on. This is the version that I remember seeing in the arcade, and this is the version that I played myself. Awesome game. Just look. Great graphics for 1988. Your objective is to run around as Mario, killing turtles, causing mayhem, collecting coins, and advancing on to the next stage. It's awesome. It is the 80s defined. So, play it, enjoy it, love it. And now, of course, Pac-Man. What a staple of the 80s. I mean, come on. This game and the Atari console went hand in hand. You could not think of one without thinking of the other. So, I really don't need to say much more about it, because everybody has played Pac-Man, Ms. Pac-Man, or some version of Pac-Man at some point in their life. And then, of course, there's Frogger, which, again, is probably another game that I really don't need to explain. Simple, frog, crosses highway, crosses a river, all while avoiding traffic and avoiding other dangers. The funny thing about this game, though, is in Frogger, the frog dies when he falls into water. That doesn't happen in real life, now does it? Up next, Asteroids. Yet another title that is synonymous with Atari. There were versions available on the 800 system, the 2600 system, and the 7800 system. None of them really look like the original arcade version though, but that's okay. It's a pretty basic game. You're a spaceship blasting away asteroids. Pretty simple. So, 7800 was the one I played the most of. 2600 of course sucked. And the 800 version, well, really nothing special about it, but definitely not the worst of the three. So, enjoy it if you can find it. Have fun. And here's Moon Patrol. Another one that some people would consider to be a classic of the Atari consoles. I myself played it a handful of times, and as you can see, I still suck at it to this day, so not much has changed. Yeah, Moon Patrol's not one of my favorites, but it is a classic. Now, Joust. Here's a unique game. It reminds me a little bit of Mario Brothers, just in terms of the platform setup, but here is the only game that I am aware of where you ride around on an ostrich, jousting other players and trying to get their eggs. Yeah. Atari had some weird games back in the day. This one's fun, but it is a bit strange, and it is worth playing, so if you can find a copy of this one, which shouldn't be too hard, I would recommend playing it. It's awesome. So, what Atari game kinda reminds me of a precursor to Gradius and Life Force on the Nintendo? Well, could only be this one. Vanguard. That's right, Vanguard. Looks a lot like Gradius or Life Force. don't you think? This is a game that I remember wanting to play a lot. I was never any good at it, but it never stopped me from playing. I liked the combination of horizontal shooting, plus this game also offered a 45-degree angle. Kind of interesting when you think about it. I mean, Life Force offered both horizontal and vertical. I never made it very far, so I don't even know how it ends. But it's still fun. Now, Centipede. Another classic Atari game. Yeah, I played this game a handful of times and never really understood it outside of the fact that it was another space shooter. Atari was famous for the space shooter games. The objective here was to shoot a centipede that slowly crawled its way down towards the bottom of the screen. Very strange. I don't really understand it, but it's a simple yet fun game. So, if you get a chance, check it out. It's kind of fun. In my opinion, no list of Atari games would be complete if you failed to mention Dig Dug. Dig Dug took up a large chunk of my childhood. I played Dig Dug a lot. It's a simple game. You basically tunnel through the earth, and you've got a hose, or I always imagine it to be a bicycle pump. And these enemies come at you, and you fill them full of air and pop them like a balloon. Yeah, that's pretty much Dig Dug. Every once in a while, if you kill enough enemies, you can pick up some sort of a fruit or a jewel or some sort of special prize in the center of the screen. And you can also drop rocks on top of them if you don't feel like using your hose to pump them up and pop them. Yeah, it's Dig Dug. Pretty cool game, so anybody who's anybody should definitely check it out, because it's amazing. And now we're going to take a look at Fort Apocalypse. This game was also available, I believe, on the Commodore, and was also available on the Atari 5200. But the only version that I ever really played was the Atari 800 version. You are in control of a helicopter, and you are shooting things. I don't know exactly what they are. I don't know if this is supposed to be Earth, if you're supposed to be on the moon, if you're supposed to be on another planet, if these are aliens. I really don't know what the premise of the game is, but I do know that it's a lot of fun. Like I said, you're a helicopter, and you fly around rescuing people from underground caverns and different things. You shoot at enemies, you destroy rival helicopters. Like I said, the purpose is to try to rescue, I guess, hostages. I guess that's what they are. It's a fun little game. I remember playing it a lot. It's definitely a challenge. It's very difficult, and death comes very, very easy. So you're going to have to probably play this one through a few times before you make any real progress, but it's definitely worth trying. So if you can find it, pick it up, play it, enjoy it. And now, Spy Hunter. Spy Hunter is a game I really, really enjoyed. The music, for starters, is very memorable and was just awesome. Never was any good at it, but loved to play it, loved the upgrades, loved the oil slick and all the other different upgrades you could get. Of course, when I played this game as a kid, all I did was just drive up the road and blast every car that I came across, regardless of whether or not they were the enemies or not. Because if you kill a car that's not an enemy, it says no points. So, but in my 8-year-old brain, That didn't register. I just knew that I had to drive and blast cars. And there was also a point where you could veer off to the left and get into a speedboat. That was kind of the best part of the game for me. And it seems like you also changed seasons, or at least the trees, like they changed colors like you were changing seasons. I don't really know what it actually is, but loved the game. Never beat it, but loved it. Yes, the music is awesome. I know I've said that already, but I'll say it again, because for me that's the best part of this game was the music. And finally, Pharaoh's Curse. One of my favorites. In fact, so much so that I actually did a review of it on Defunct Games' website, so feel free to go over there and read it. But this is it. This is the game that really, really, truly ignited my passion for video games as a child. I played this game a ton. It was a lot of fun. It's your basic platforming game. You are a treasure hunter trying to capture all of the jewels and treasures within the pyramid, being chased by, well, it looks like an Indian, but it's not. It's a pharaoh or a mummy. And then, of course, you've got the actual mummy. And then there's the goddamn bird who will pick you up and then drop you off somewhere else random within the pyramid. The game itself is moderately difficult, but it's easy enough to earn extra lives. Every treasure you pick up gets you an extra life. So it's with a lot of practice and a lot of patience you can get through this game. It's a lot of fun. So play it and enjoy it. So there you have it. A look at some of the most important Atari games from my childhood. But wait, I left off one game that is now infamous. E.T. Yep, on the 2600. Guess what? Never played it, so don't really care to review it or talk about it because it is more or less all over the internet, amongst other places. So I didn't cover it, and don't plan on covering it. Again, I never played it. So, for the Classic Console Experience and ROM with a View, this has been Emmett, looking at Atari games. Happy gaming, everybody.